It's the same kind of place, isn't it? They all about the same.
I think your wife was the same. It's like discount, regular price. That's what it is.
I got you. Terry, is she gonna?
Would you turn me off?
I turned you off. We were talking. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. No. Hello.
You changed the water. We got budget. I said you changed the water.
Oh, that's Jazz.
Top Jazz.
Yeah, she keeps up with that kind of stuff.
Always wanted to do that. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you would please stand with me. Councilwoman Veronica Robertson will lead us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the ability to be here tonight. We thank you for the ability and the trust that the citizens of Winnable have put into us. We thank you for everyone that works for the town. We thank you for the citizens. And we ask that you bless our town, bless our community. Amen.
Amen.
If you would turn with me and we'll recite the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the June Winterville Town Council meeting. As you can tell, Mayor Jackson is out of town tonight, so I'm going to try to navigate us through. I'd like to recognize our County Commissioner, Jimmy Garris. We have our Director of Chamber of Commerce, Debbie Avery, if you would welcome them. We will move on to approval of the agenda. We have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And we will move to recognition. Mr. Hallwell, would you come up front and meet Terry and I? For those of you who do not know Tom Hallwell, he's been our town engineer since 1985.
Yes, sir.
Just was a teenager in 1985. We would like to honor you tonight, and on behalf of the town of Winnable, I'd like to present this Lifetime Achievement Award. We thank you for your service and your dedication to the town.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Chair? I didn't know if you want to say it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Can I say a few words?
Absolutely. Please.
meeting with this board over spanning 26 and a half plus years. I am 76 plus years old and have served about 12 years longer than normal people retire. So this is just fantastic. I've had a fantastic time serving the town, by the way, with the honorable gentlemen and ladies that are on the board now and the previous boards. I'm a sailor at heart, having also retired from the Navy, and what I would like to offer to the town for the continuous service is a fair wind and a following sea. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. It's been an honor working with you, and you have certainly served our town well. We don't have any new employees. We do not have any presentations tonight. We have a public hearing on the annexation of the West Winterville Industrial Park, Lot 8. I'd like to open that.
And we do have a public hearing this evening on an annexation which has been requested by petition. The property under consideration is West Winterville Industrial Park, lot number 8. The blue area is existing city limits, and this cross-hatched area is the area under consideration. It's approximately a 2-acre lot located on Reedy Branch Road, just north of the 903 intersection. The Town Council received a petition requesting annexation of this property at their May 14th meeting and adopted a resolution directing the Town Clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the petition. The Town Clerk provided a certificate of sufficiency at the Council's meeting on May 22nd, and the Council at that time adopted a resolution scheduling tonight's public hearing. After completing this public hearing, the Council may then adopt an annexation ordinance, and the recommended effective date of annexation would be June 30th, 2012. Does the council have any questions for staff before the public hearing? If not, ask the public hearing.
Okay. Do we have anyone here in favor that needs to speak? Anyone in opposition? Okay, what's the pleasure of council?
I so move.
I second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Approval? Okay, next is our public comment time. I think we have 3 speakers that have signed up to speak. Please keep in mind you have 3 minutes. And the first is Dawn Paletti, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Okay. If you would come over and introduce yourself, and if you would provide your address to us.
I'm Dawn Paletti with the Southridge Homeowners Association, right here at around the corner next to the Armed Forces Reserve Center. My address is 3016B Sherrill Court in that subdivision. Okay. I'm acting as president of that association tonight and addressing you. As you noticed in some papers that I had passed out prior to the meeting regarding the drainage issue that exists on Emily Drive off of Old Highway 11. If you can see from those papers, I don't know if you have them in front of you. This was based on the rain that we had on May 23rd, the great downpour that we had, and you can see how the Pitt County Opus print that the blue area is what was still remaining in the street at 5:30 in the morning, which the pictures denote that is also part of the attachment. The area in orange is what was covered at the time of the most high point of the flooding at that time. We had flooding during Irene. We have flooding whenever it rains a sufficient amount. And I've talked with the Charles Vanderford of the Southeast Drainage District today. We don't have a drainage lateral place there. They're the closest one is off of Reedy Branch or behind us in Aden. I talked with Jonas Hill of the Pitt County Planning Department, who oversees stormwater for the county, and also erosion control. And there's most of the feedback that we've been getting from the town is that it's the railroad tracks across the street, which do not weed out the ditch that's located there, and so water pools into our subdivision. I've talked with Mr. Harwell in the past, and he seems to feel that most of it is the railroad company. And so I have contacted the railroad company, but as you would know and most officials know, they are not an easy group to talk with or get action. And so we were looking for the town of Winterville to take action in getting up with the railroad company or whatever else may need to be taken care of as far as cleaning out that ditch so that we can have less coming into our subdivision.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Martha Outlaw.
Martha won't be here tonight, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Bob Daniels. If you would, sir, please provide your address when you approach.
Thank you. My name is Bob Daniels. I live at 198B Emily Drive, which is about 75 yards from Old Highway 11. Reiterating what Dawn has just said, the main problem that I have seen over the 13 years I've been living in this subdivision, and I was the 5th resident in the subdivision when it was built, there's a big drainage pipe that goes underneath the railroad track, and the last time I checked, which has been about 2 years ago, that was 95% full of debris, limbs, trash, and in my opinion, if that was cleaned out along with the ditches, our flow of water would be much, much better than it is right now, or has ever been. Also, one of the problems that we have when we do have this water coming up in the neighborhood is when the pilings, not pilings, but your roadblocks are put out. You put it out on the end of Emily Drive closest to Highway 11, and you put out 1 or 2 cones there. You don't put out anything on the west side, which is the water comes up beyond my house. So people coming in from the 4-lane 11 come right through and don't see any cones on the old 11 side, run through there 25, 30 miles an hour and throwing water back up into these people's houses. Even a school bus last time, which was about 2 weeks ago, a school bus went through there running 15, 25 miles an hour throwing water up in there. You know, I would certainly appreciate if the council could see to put a barricade there instead of the cones, because people are not going to pay any attention to cones, and put them on both the ends rather than on just the end down at the old 11. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Letty, Mr. Daniels, thank you for coming out tonight. We'll certainly take a look at those items. Anything off the consent agenda that needs to be removed? Do we hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. No old business tonight, so we will move into new business. Appointments to the boards and commissions.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, before you tonight for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board Committee. We've got 5 members whose terms expire at the end of this month, 3 of which who have expressed desire to be reappointed for an additional 2-year term. Those members are Kirby Bryson, Leela Blunt, and Randy Bowers. The other 2 members have expressed desire to, for personal reasons, to not be reappointed. And so I've asked for the board to reappoint the 3 members who have requested to be reappointed and to allow us permission to advertise for our vacancies that we have, which would be 2 non-resident positions and 1 alternate. and I would bring back recommendations to you at your July meeting.
Make a motion to approve your recommendations.
Have a motion, got a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? None. Okay, Planning and Zoning Board?
We currently have 2 vacancies on our Planning and Zoning Board. These are vacant, unexpired terms. Advertisements inviting persons to apply have recently been published in the Daily Reflector. The town's website also contains an invitation to apply to serve on all the town volunteer boards. We have received 2 new applications. One of them was distributed with your agenda packet. The other arrived after the agenda packet was distributed, but I believe Jasmine emailed a copy of that application to you, and I've also placed copies of those applications in front of your places. Both of these applicants are in-town applicants. The vacancies we have are for 1 in-town regular member and 1 out-of-town, I'm sorry, 1 in-town alternate member and 1 out-of-town alternate member. Unfortunately, we do not have any out-of-town applications. So the action the board could consider tonight is to appoint 1 person to serve as the in-town alternate member for the remainder of an unexpired term expiring June 30th, 2013, and continue to seek a person to fill the out-of-town alternate position.
Pleasure of the board.
I make a motion we approve Willie L. Hines to be in-town member of the Planning and Zoning.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Mr. Hines. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. You want to, and you're going to look for the other position?
Continue to solicit applications for the other position.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Board of Adjustment?
All of the Board of Adjustment seats are scheduled to expire June 30th, 2012. The Board of Adjustment is made up of 5 regular members and 2 alternates. 4 regular members and 1 alternate reside within the city limits and are appointed by the Winterville Town Council. 1 regular member and 1 alternate member reside within the extraterritorial jurisdiction and are appointed by the Pitt County Board of Commissioners. All members serve 3-year terms. Included with your agenda package is a list of the existing membership. All current members have requested to be considered for appointment to new terms. Again, advertisements inviting persons to apply for membership were published in the Daily Reflector. And again, the town's internet website does contain an invitation to apply to serve on all the town volunteer boards. Unfortunately, we have received no Board of Adjustment membership applications. So the recommended action to be considered by the board would be to consider the reappointment of the 4 in-town regular members, reappointment of the 1 out-of-town regular member, and that we continue to seek a out-of-town alternate member.
And keep the out-of-town alternate member we already have.
I'm sorry.
You failed to mention the alternate member in town.
You would recommend reappointment of the regular members, and I'm sorry if I failed to say that. I said the 4, I should have said the 5.
I make a motion. We approve the recommendation.
We have a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Next new business is the proposed amendment of Code of Ordinance, Chapter 32, Section 32.067, Planning and Zoning Board meeting attendance.
Our Planning and Zoning Board is requesting or recommending some minor adjustments to the meeting attendance policy requirements that are in our Code of Ordinances. These requested changes will serve to somewhat simplify and clarify the attendance requirements and make them slightly less restrictive. You have in your agenda packets, and I have on the screen, the existing provisions. Item number 1 describes some of the situations that would be considered excused absences, such as medical conditions, family emergencies, or unavoidable business conflicts. Item number 3 describes a procedure for a leave of absence for a prolonged illness due to sickness, or a prolonged absence due to illness, medical procedure, or other extenuating circumstances. Item number 2 is the part that the planning board is requesting be changed. It currently reads, any member who is absent for more than 25% of regular meetings or accumulates 2 consecutive unexcused absences within a fiscal year shall be replaced. At the bottom of the screen is the recommended amendment to this part. The amendment would read, any member who is absent for more than 4 regular meetings, accumulates 2 consecutive unexcused absences, or accumulates more than 3 unexcused absences within a fiscal year shall be replaced. No member may be granted excused absences for more than 4 regular meetings. The next page is just sort of a summary of what this would mean. It would mean that a member would be disqualified from serving if they missed more than 4 regular meetings, if they missed 2 consecutive meetings unexcused, or if they accumulated more than 3 unexcused absences.
What's the pleasure of the council?
I had a question first. How many of the present members as we reappointed would have been moved off the board with this present policy you're proposing?
I'm not sure that any, as a matter of fact, this relaxes the standard a little bit, so we wouldn't lose any of the members that we've not already lost due to absences. The only other thing I might mention is at the time you adopted the policy, you established this same policy for all the volunteer boards. Now, this came as a recommendation from the planning board, but I thought if you'd like to, if you're agreeable with this change, you may want to consider also implementing this change in attendance policies for the other volunteer boards as well, if you'd like to keep them all uniform.
Pleasure to council.
I make a motion that we accept the proposal.
Have a motion to accept the proposal.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, let no one say aye.
Is that for all the boards,
what I was
or is
gonna
that just
ask.
for this planning board?
I think it's just for this planning board.
Right now.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Do we need to
Because the other board has not
amend that in
requested
any way?
this. The other boards has not requested this.
I think Mr. Moy said that the intent was for it to relate to just this one board. This is being taped, but we'll make sure that the minutes reflect that that was his motion.
This is just for the planning and zoning board.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, let no one say an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Secretary?
I would just suggest that potentially staff go back and cover this same policy with the boards that weren't included tonight. It is easier from an administrative staff standpoint to have the same policy. So if the council,
Do we currently have the same policy?
I understood everyone
Yeah, the
has
policy,
the same
as I
policy.
first presented, is currently adopted for all volunteer boards. But this has not, to my knowledge, I know it hasn't for the boards that the other boards I deal with, been discussed with anyone but the planning board who conceived of the idea of changing the policy some.
So staff will go back.
We will
and-
cover it with everyone else.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 3, the proposed agreements to participate in the regional hazard mitigation plan for Greene, Lenoir, Pitt, Wayne, and Jones counties.
As a result of the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 and the North Carolina Senate Bill 3000, each local government, including counties, cities, towns, and villages are required to have an approved hazard mitigation plan. We currently have an approved hazard mitigation plan in that we are part of a Pitt County hazard mitigation plan that covers Pitt County and all the municipalities in Pitt County except the city of Greenville, who have a separate hazard mitigation plan. There is now a proposal to develop a regional hazard mitigation plan that would incorporate 5 multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plans into one regional plan. This would include the counties of Greene, Jones, Pitt, and Wayne, as well as the incorporated municipalities within those counties. Included in your agenda packet is a written proposal and agreement for participation in this effort. There are grant funds available for this purpose, and there would be no cost to the town of Winterville to participate outside of the time that staff would have invested in the project. So the recommended action is approval of the agreement to participate in the regional hazard mitigation plan.
Mayor Pro Tem, if you all choose to approve this agreement, I would also ask that you authorize me to sign it on behalf of the town.
Okay. It's the pleasure of the council. What's the pleasure of the council?
I think it's a good idea that we do participate things on a regional basis. So I make the motion.
And we have a motion.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, and that includes Terry's request.
Yes.
To sign that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, moving on to number 4, the proposed agreement with the Wooten Company for land development plan update services.
This is Alan's meeting.
Again, included in your agenda packet
And on all this.
is a proposed scope of services and contract with the Wooten Company for assistance in completing update of the town's land development plan. As you're aware, planning staff and the Planning and Zoning Board have already been working on this effort and have done a lot of the preliminary work on the update. The cost for the services of Wooten would be 100% reimbursable from the Pitt County Health Department as part of the Communities Putting Prevention to Work, or CPPW, grant funds. And in accordance with the goals of the CPPW program, the update to the plan would include a strong community health element as part of the plan.
Alan, it's not often you say 100% reimbursement, so I like it.
And we're on a short time frame, too. We hope to have this done by the end of September. Is that
We
right,
hope to
Alan?
have a draft in your hands by September, and then it may take a little longer to go through a hearing process for adoption.
Right. Thank you.
This includes the ETJ?
It does.
So it's somewhat like our Horizon Land Use Plan?
As a matter of fact, it's an update to that document.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the recommendation.
We have a motion. Do we hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let know by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Before we move to number 5, do we need to discuss the library before we talk about 5?
If there's any discussion to be had regarding funding in the library, now's an appropriate time to do it.
Okay. Any discussion on the library funding? I believe they are short just a hair under $34,000.
Correct.
I would present to the council that we provide them with some assistance, maybe in the range of $15,000 to $18,000, and we take that one time out of the general fund until we hear back from them on what they're going to do as far as raising their fees, and I think attaching a fee to the meeting rooms that they have. My recommendation would be maybe $18,000. And I will make that in a motion that we provide the library $18,000 out of the general fund. And then I believe there is some contract workings. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Currently, we need to put together a new contract with the library. The previous agreement was in place since, I believe, April of 1990, and it basically only addressed responsibilities of each entity, and it didn't go much beyond that. I'll be drafting the new contract with town attorney's assistance, and I would suggest we put in some financial reporting requirements, some budget request requirements, and potentially some of you have expressed the desire. The initial term of the original agreement was 10 years, maybe a shorter original term. So I was thinking somewhere in the lines of 5 years with a potential option to renew after going through a process. But we'll bring that back in July for your approval.
I would definitely recommend maybe a 5-year contract. I know we had discussed that. 10 years was, I think, too long, so I think a 5-year term would be great for that contract.
The contract has to happen, though, regardless of what you do on the funding issue tonight. That has to take place in order for us to move forward.
I'll second the motion.
And we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to see us take it. I hate to see us do anything with our general fund, with our fund balance, at least. I would like to see us, if we could, to designate the monies out of the, I won't say extra, because there are no extra monies in our budget, but out of the additional monies generated by the tax, if we could work out an agreement with them, somewhat of a contract, in and around about the same amount, about 18,000, 15 to 18,000 out of those monies.
I just want to be clear on the monies we're talking about, Councilwoman Robertson. Are you talking about the extra revenue from the tax increase?
Yes.
So we would look at funding one less person?
Yes.
So that would be funding one, not funding one of the positions that were previously discussed at our budget workshops.
Well, I would say this, and I'm not in total disagreement with that, but I think we're already running off of a short staff. Our fund balance is in good shape. $18,000 is not a large amount of money. Not when you're looking at some of the figures we're looking at. It's a lot of money to me. But I think one time pulling it out of fund balance, in my opinion, would be okay. Any further discussion?
I am, fund balance, that's the way to go, in my opinion. But in the future, they did not take into consideration the cost of the facility that we are paying for when they said 12%. In the contract, it says they must submit to us by April 1st. Now, when it came to the presentation, he did not tell us who used the library. I did not see about with it and how many people in the town used, how many people outside the town used the library. It did say that the commissioners gave us $3,800, and you know, he needs more information to us. I was very displeased with his presentation that he gave us and coming so late. But this is a one-time thing. I would not vote to take a position. Our town is in need of the positions. Look around, I rode bicycle around most of the town this past weekend. We have some dirty, dirty streets. A lot of needs in our town, and less manpower will make us less of a town to live in. I feel like the commissioners, I know they're in a difficult situation. They did a small tax increase. And people have to realize even our budget is zero neutral because our values went down. So really we have not planned to go up on taxes. And these are difficult times, but our town still, I think, needs this personnel.
Councilman Moy or Cooper, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I did. You know, we were already through with the budget process. We had already worked on the budget. There was a lot of studying that went into that budget. We sent it back to the staff, and the staff had to rework it again, and they worked very hard on that budget. I used a Jimmy Garris thing. I looked at it, and then I prayed about it. And I felt a little sick on my stomach when we got through with it. Now, the Chamber of Commerce, they came up here in plenty of time and put their request in. So did the Senior Citizens Council. Then here comes the library, after everything is already done, with a request that was just out of the blue. I will vote for this because it's the library, and I think that our citizens need the library. But I would caution that we would not allow that kind of a late input into the budget process next year.
Well, I think we all agree that they came to us extremely late. I don't think there's anybody that disagrees with that. And hopefully in the future that will not happen.
I would like to clarify, their original request of the 143,620, I believe, came well in advance of the budget deliberation. So their original request came in the manner with which they normally request in letter form well ahead of time. It was this increased amount that came at the last minute.
And tell me, when you listened to the gentleman when he spoke, what was the increase for? I couldn't tell when he talked what it was for, where he came up with the figures.
Please, anyone correct me if I'm wrong, but as I recall, his presentation related to the fact that they had been cut by both the county and the city of Greenville, and as a result, it had required the library to go back and take a look at what it actually costs to do business in the Winterville Library, and that's when they determined and finished it at the same time we received the change in the numbers, that it cost $33,000 plus more to run it than they had been requesting.
So that's just about a 25% increase.
Yes, sir.
The increase, the county did not cut them 25%. The city, Shepherd did not cut 25%, so therefore they added on to the money.
I gathered that they are now being charged, if you will, by the city for some administrative services. They're having to account for those where they may not have done that before. Things like payroll services, things of that nature.
I didn't like the idea that, our employees are not getting a raise this year, but the library people are. But then again, our employees got raises January the 1st, and theirs didn't. So in this new agreement, since they are in the town of Winterville, even though they're employees of the Shepherd District, they should get raises when our employees get raises.
They follow the city of Greenville pay system, so.
And since we don't have an agreement since 2000, 12 years ago, 12 years without an agreement.
Well, theoretically,
It's 2012, so 12 years.
One could argue that it by default.
Right, default, correct.
Renewed for 10 years, so really 2 years, if we want to be technical.
Terry, I would also like for them to provide us with any fee increases. When he spoke, I think he indicated that they were discussing that now, and that they would be looking at increases in their fees. If you could provide us in the future with what those fees currently are and what they were moved up to for this next fiscal year.
I certainly will.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. I believe that's
3-1.
3-1.
3-1. Again, that is to transfer $18,000 from the general fund balance to the appropriation for the library. And as you consider your budget ordinance and hopeful approval of the budget ordinance, you would need to approve that with this change. So we will need to go back and add that in the final signed version.
Okay. And that was 4-1, Terry, not 3-1.
I'm sorry.
Just so we're clear.
My math is off.
No problem. Okay, can we move on to number 5 now? Okay, and that's the adoption of the 2012-2013 budget ordinance, which will include the amendment that we just made with the library. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. It's the pleasure of the council.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the 2012-2013 budget. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, did I leave out something?
No, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other agenda items?
I would ask the board to officially, I remember when we were doing the working with the railroad about Boyd Street, that we went on record as supporting the position to keep, Boyd Street open, that we come up with a letter of support for the Southridge residents in their, I won't say negotiations, but as far as their concerns about the water in the area. It is an area of concern. We see the pictures, and I went over there after it rained, and I actually saw this for myself, that right there to the front of it, we do have water ponding. And they're asking, I know the request, if I'm correct, the request is that the railroad grant the town of Winfield permission to do some mitigation, cleaning out of the ditches adjacent to that, across the road from the area. And
The town.
Mhm.
The town under the road.
the town under the road. So I would like the town to, the board, to write a letter of support for that. And Mr. Garris, I also would like town county commissioners, if they would do the same thing about the Southridge development. It would help them so much.
Tom, are we pretty positive that the railroad issue is behind the flooding over there?
He's retired.
I know you're retired.
Not yet.
And I wanted to hear you
Not
one more
yet.
time.
One more time, Tom. I bet he's been down that ditch today looking at it, laying ahead.
There are three components of this situation. One is the railroad component. The pipe is sized at 36 inches. It goes uphill.
It's uphill.
It goes uphill, meaning this way. That means that 36 inches, and it goes uphill about 1.5 feet. So over the years, that has been effectively half. It gets debris in it. It has been cleaned out unauthorized, not by the town, but by the developer about 8 to 10 years ago. We don't dare go on their property and do anything, period, without filing all kind of permissions because of the liability that if we do something and they have a derailment in that area, that's an interesting and exciting thing, and it has happened in Pitt County over in the Belvoir area. On the other side there is a ditch that has a lot of trees in it, that the water goes, amazingly enough, across the railroad, turns to the right, goes down to our well, turns to the right on Old 11, turns to the right again, and goes down and crosses the railroad once again as it goes into Swift Creek. There's an embankment between 11, the new 11, and old 11 that is about 10 to 12 feet difference for cutting through other people's property there. That's the total situation. This, I think, needs some additional staff study. We have approached the railroad about 8 years ago. They sent engineers down, and we received negative information, and nothing was done. And that's the status as I know it. That's it.
Thank you, Tom. It's going to take a new engineer a long time to learn all those right turns.
No doubt.
Councilwoman Robertson, was that a motion you made to?
Yes.
Okay.
A letter of support for the Southridge
have a
residents.
Okay. We have a motion for a letter of support for the Southridge residents to help them with maybe being able to move the railroad company. Maybe you can budge them a little. That's hard work there. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. Okay, those opposed, none. All righty. Let's see. Do we have any items for future agendas or future work sessions?
Mr., I have one that I
Okay.
don't know if it needs to go on the agenda or not for next month, but since I've been on this board, I've been talking about the cemetery and some sort of landscaping, beautification, or what, at our cemetery down there on Reedy Branch and on Fire Tower Road. And I would recommend to the board that we would just consider a committee of civilians, 3 people, 4 people, whatever the board would deem necessary, to do a study and come back with phase 1, phase 2, or whatever, not spend any money on this, but have phase 1 in place for the upcoming budget next year, not this year, to get something started on that cemetery down there. Right now, we have an open field. It's embarrassing down there. So I would just recommend to our board that we start some action on this.
Do we need a future work session for that?
I don't know that you need a work session. You certainly could take it under advisement. You could vote to do that this evening. You all really have the choice in how you want to address it.
Okay.
It's a good
In that
idea.
case, I would make a motion that we have a committee in place consisting of 3 of our citizens to do a study what needs to be done, what should be done, and what the cost would be in 1 phase or 2 phases or 3, whatever deemed necessary. But actual work start on that after the July budget for next year, not this year.
And who is going to choose or pick the committee?
I certainly think the council should do it, and it would also be helpful to have at least 1, if not more, council representatives on that committee.
Well, how about if each council member came back with 1 person that they recommend
Yeah.
to be on that committee?
Great. That will for me, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
We have a motion to come back to the next board meeting. Each council member provide 1 person that they would like to be on the committee, the beautification committee for our cemetery.
Yes.
Okay, we've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Cemeteries.
Cemeteries.
Are you talking about both, right?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Do you have anything, Terry?
I would also, again, ask you all to think about appointing at least 1 council member to serve on that committee with the citizens.
Okay. Well, I would recommend that we appoint Councilman Cooper.
Yeah.
It would be my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed?
Thank you.
Okay. Any other items for future agenda or work sessions? Okay, we'll move on to reports. Chief Wilkes? Okay. Thank you. Chief Moore? Tom?
Well, last time.
I'd like to just let y'all know that we have given notice to proceed to the sidewalk contractor, and his first mission will be on Church and Blunt Street. I would also like to add, Mr. Hartwell, just because I live there, I had nothing to do with that sidewalk being put there. I didn't even want that sidewalk. Thank you.
You'll never convince everybody of that. Didn't you know we get free utilities?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah?
I heard that one at least once or twice. Mervyn?
I think everybody knows that tomorrow at lunch, Electric City's taking Electric Park out to lunch at Logan's. Look forward to seeing all y'all there. We had another year without a lost time accident. I've been utility rate in 1995. 17 years we've had 1 lost time accident. I contribute this to the board supporting us and our safety program. Thank y'all for what y'all doing on the safety side. And our guys, well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mervyn. Eric?
Nothing to add to either of my reports. I would like to remind the board that Friday we have Big Rick and the Bombers playing, and then about 35 All
Thank you, Eric. Brad?
I have nothing additional to report, but I stand by for questions.
Thank you, Brad. Anthony?
I have two items. One item surfaced about 2 weeks ago from an email from Pitt County notifying us of a situation with regard to sales and use tax. Many of you may be aware of this already, but I just wanted to formally notify the board about basically a situation where we were all the municipalities in Pitt County were overpaid sales and use tax over a period of 3 years, and the result of that is a net. It's an estimate at this point. It's a net $97,000. So I have had some brief conversations with the Department of Revenue. They are not 100% sure how they're going to handle the situation at this point in time. And as soon as we get that information, I'll pass it along. But ultimately, what it means to us is whether we will have to find a way to fund this refund back for the sales and use tax that was distributed to us. And one of the options that they presented was a payback over the same period for which this error occurred, which was 3 years. So given that scenario, it would be $2,715 per month. We average about $122,000 per month in sales and use tax revenue. So you're looking about $32,500 for a year, or half a cent on the sales tax. So that will be, if that method is used for the payback, then that's the kind of net effect you'll see. It'll hit our budget for that amount. So
that would come right off the brand new budget that starts in July. Will be that much in the hole off of what we anticipated to receive.
That's correct. So another hit that we hadn't planned on as we went through the budget process. And I'll definitely keep you posted as soon as we get any indication from the Department of Revenue on what our options are as we move forward. Ultimately, this was a result of some major nonprofit organization filing returns that were different from how the taxes were paid. So it was nothing that the town of Winterville did, or nothing that Pitt County did specifically that caused a problem. It was some major nonprofit organization and the way they handle refunds for nonprofits that caused the problem. And the second thing I would like to thank Mr. Harwell for the time I've worked with him. We've been sparring partners at times, and we've been friends at times. So I appreciate all his help over the years and all the hard work that he's done in helping the finance department with contracts and various things. So congratulations, Mr. Harwell. Hope you have a fun retirement.
Thank you, Anthony. We'll let you sharpen your pencil on that $97,000. Alan? I've got a question, Alan. The remaining screen on the Pilgrim property that we discussed, has it been put up, I guess?
It has not been put up yet.
And is there a timeline for them to get that up?
Well, I didn't specifically require one, but they had the material backordered supposedly until June 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I tried several times to reach the owner on the telephone and been unsuccessful at the end of last week and today. So I may just have to go down there. My call is a return.
Well, I certainly think they need to get the rest of that screen on that fence. What about the 8-foot fence that we had discussed?
Well, they would also need to add 2 feet to the existing screening as well as the remaining screening that is installed.
And is there a timeline for that?
Well, there again, I mean, it sent them the written notification that had to be done, and my understanding was that when the additional material arrived, they would take care of both items, finishing that area fence as well as adding the additional 2 feet.
Okay. All right, thank you, Alan. Didn't miss anybody, did I? Okay. Counselor?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Smith. Just a couple follow-up matters, I guess, from last month. You might recall that I guess this is maybe my last report on the Noble Canal project, at least for the unforeseen future. 2532 Mill Street, you might recall, is owned by Shirley Williams and Hattie Carmen, and this board authorized me to assist Ms. Williams with a modification of Hattie Carmen's guardianship. That matter was taken care of towards the end of last month, and followed by the last easement. We already had an easement from Shirley Williams, but we needed the easement signed on behalf of Hattie Carmen. We received that last week, and it was filed with the Register of Deeds office. So that brings everything that we needed for the Noble Canal project, and the easements has been filed and recorded. The sidewalk easement, I think Mr. Harwell mentioned that those contracts have been signed, and there was 11 easements that we required to get. We've done the title work for 10, drafted the easements for 10. There's one tract, to be candid with you, is air property. It's going to take a little bit of work, and I concentrated on the 10 that we could go ahead and get punched out. Look to have the 11th one done sometime over the next month. And wanted to let you know, Patricia Waller, the property right here, 205 North Street, the title work closing was finalized towards the end of May. And it's my understanding that the foundation is to be started actually in the next couple of days. And College Park, the Baptist Church, is scheduled to be here the first week in July, very similar like what was done with Beatrice House's property. They'll be here the first week in July, so you should, over the next few weeks, see a lot of activity there. Her home will remain while they're building the new home, and then they'll demolish the existing structure. And I, too, like Anthony, wanted to say, Tom, it's been a pleasure working with you. I've been here since 1990, been around since then, and I've enjoyed working with you. I've always been in your good graces, so I find myself very fortunate to have been in those good graces. Have enjoyed your counsel. Tom was always somebody who, if I could call him, he would pick up and talk to me. And if I needed information, Tom was one that always had it. He walked around with all that information in his head. And in his cell phone, I think he keeps a lot of information there. And your advice, counsel, and friendship, Tom's been priceless. And I wish you and Bitsy very well in your retirement. And don't be a stranger. Come by and see us.
Thank you, sir.
Subject to your questions. That's all I have.
Team, thank you.
You're welcome.
Terry?
Just a couple of things. I too want to again thank Tom. I know that I've driven him crazy in the short time I've been here, and he still continues to speak to me, so I say thank you for that. I wanted to also congratulate Mervyn and his staff on their continued award that they get every year on being safe, and I know that you guys have a dangerous job, and it takes a lot to have no lost time, so congratulations on that. I wanted to thank the council and staff as a whole for the work done on the budget. It was clearly a tough budget, one of my toughest, so I think we made it through with something we can maybe not all feel fabulous about, but we can certainly work with, so thanks to everyone on their hard work there. You will receive your final budget books within the next several days with all of the updates accordingly. To follow up on Keene's report on the Waller property, Grifton Mission Ministries started today demolishing and cleaning up the rear of that property. So work is already underway, and the town is working in conjunction with the county to continue to prep that land so that they can start building in the next few weeks. And then finally, reminding everyone we do have a closed session. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Tom, you might want to put that phone on eBay. You might could get some money for that thing. Maybe talk with some of these new engineers that may be coming in and see if they want to purchase that thing from you. Okay, we'll move on to the town council. Well, Councilman Moore.
Again, Tom, back and forth. Appreciate all you've done. It's a lot of information. a lot of information. If you don't get lost. I would like to give a little time to Debbie to mention something about Friday night, Chamber of Commerce.
Friday night we had in Chamberlain Park in association with the
Concert. What kind of band is it?
We have 17 businesses that are setting up. That's great.
I think we have a number of businesses that are going to be setting up booths. What, are they going to be out there for the duration of the concert? 6:30 to 9. Please come out and check that out.
Other comments are that this budget was not perfect. Money is tight. I was hoping for a new street sweeper. I was hoping for a few more police cars. I talked to Terry about maybe highway patrol cars in the future. I was hoping for a raise for employees. They do get one in January. I hope they do that this coming January. I'm proud that our fund balance is double anybody else's in the county. I do hope we'll eventually have a kitchen that's useful to raise money for the fire department. I think it's a good perk the fire department have to raise additional funds. Most fire departments have that. If the municipal fire department can't do it, maybe other volunteers can man it. I also look forward to the future that we do something like Rescue Squad. We could use that money this year. That money could be very valuable to our town in the future. I am disappointed that the library did come back at such a late time, and that's inexcusable that happened. You come back after things are already done. But all in all, this board really worked hard, and I must be very complimentary about town manager. Did a wonderful job putting it together. Miracle worker, I call it. But thanks to the other council members for everyone's hard work. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Moore. Councilwoman Robertson.
I do want to echo everyone's sentiments to Mr. Harwell for working so hard for our town and being there for us so much. I think he went above and beyond the call of duty, so we do appreciate it. On Thursday at 1 o'clock, some of our police officers are meeting with some residents from Winterville as far as discussing some neighborhood initiatives. And I'd invite, other council members. I know 3 of us can't be there, but if you can be there at Thursday at 1 to talk about some neighborhood initiatives to keep down some things in our community. Also, our attorney talked about the project, and Terry talked about our home project. Last year, I was on the site a lot. I was on there enough to get a tan. And Mr. Garris was out there, too. I'm quite sure his complexion, because it was hot. It was very hot. But I invite it to be close up here, so, of course, it'd be more conducive to a lot of you just coming by. Just drop by that site. You will, I promise you, your life will be changed. It's an experience you will never forget to see those people out there working, the pastor of the church on top of the building, the former pastor out working, the young folks with the nailing and the hammering and the raising of that first wall and on that first day. It's an experience that you will never forget. I think I was changed by that experience last summer just to see them out there. And they were changed because of the way that the people in our community accepted them and did for them. So they changed us, but we also changed them. They were very, very appreciative of everything that was done. And those of you that are here, encourage your churches to come by. They're the whole congregation there working. And like I said, it's an experience that you never forget, and they don't forget. They haven't forgotten the Winterville community and the Pitt County community, because they said that they had never built a house in a community and received the kind of community support they got while here in our slice of the good life.
Thank you, Councilwoman Robertson. Councilman Cooper.
Yeah, I'd like to just same thing, Tom. I wish you well in your retirement, my friend. What short time I've known you, it's been a pleasure, a real pleasure. That 30-minute orientation that lasted 2 hours, again, thank you for that. And Mervyn, congratulations and your people on the award. And I want to thank all of the staff for the work, the town manager and the department heads for the work they did on the budget. It was not pretty, but thank you everybody.
Thank
Councilman Cooper. Councilman Moy.
I just want to echo the same what everyone else has said about Tom. Thank you so much for the work and hard work that you've done for this town. I'd like to add on also that there's an old saying, if a man come to you and he's hungry, you feed him a fish. If he come to you again, you teach him how to fish. You don't keep right on feeding him. So the reason why I'm saying this, you know, what we are doing now with the renovation of these homes, I just hope and pray that we have something in place to show them how to keep up the upkeep of these homes, because this is very expensive. So I would like for us or someone at least put something together to give them some sort of guideline on how to keep an upkeep of these homes that we renovate and redo.
Thank you,
Thank you
Councilman Moy.
again, Ms. Harwell.
Thank you. Again, Tom, you've heard it many times tonight, but thank you for your hard work and dedication to the town of Winterville. I would also like to tip my hat to Terry and all of the staff. This is my 7th year on the board, and it was by far the most challenging budget that we've had yet. And it certainly included a tax increase, and I'm sure there'll be some people that are unhappy about that. It was a hard decision, but it was the right decision. And I think in the future of our town, we will see that it was the best thing for us to do. But again, I'd like to tip my hat to the staff, to Terry. A lot of hard work went into that, and thank you for everything you did. I have one announcement, and that is the fiscal year does begin July the 1st for 2012-2013. And in saying that, I have navigated us through tonight. So we do have a closed session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I so move, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Just curious about something. I read this